Okay, there we go. Oh man, what's going on? Welcome to another live quarantine TV edition of Real Fans Real Talk. I'm sorry, y'all. I know we've been MIA, but both myself and the legend have been moving and grooving the past couple of weeks. Had some things that we had to take care of on the business side of things, but we are officially back live, and we're gonna try to get back on the schedule that y'all like the morning schedule soon. We're gonna get things back in order, but it's a lot going on in the sports world, so we definitely wanted to get back in touch with you guys really quick because we got some things coming up. Some big events just went down. We had a huge boxing match last night, and the NBA playoffs is still going on. So before we get into all the sports, let me introduce my co-host, my brother, the one and only legend in two games, Eric Sanchez. What's going on, man?
Come on, bro. You already know what's up. I'm super excited to get back to work. You know what I'm saying? I had to go away for a few weeks, but we back at it, man. And the people need us. The people need us. They need to hear from us. They need to know what's really going on. With all due respect to other sports shows, y'all not this. So let's keep it a bug. Let's call it what it is. And you know the energy I'm coming with, Trip. You know where we at with it.
Facts. And we got a whole lot to get to. We got some charity business coming up real soon too. We're gonna talk about that a little bit later on in the show as well. But I ain't gonna hold you know what I'm saying? Like we're just gonna jump right in. These NBA playoffs. Yes, I know LeBron is down. Lakers are down 0-3 right now in the Western Conference. Hold on, I gotta take a sip of some water real quick. That ain't hurt me to even say that right there.
I
But
I,
yeah,
I noticed you were hesitant to get to
I,
to start off there, but
but I'm you know what? We're just gonna get it out the way. We're not even going, you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna mess around. I'm man up, you know. I ain't gonna be like, them young boys, from the Grizzlies, talk crazy and then they run out. Even though I wasn't talking crazy, they was talking crazy and then they ran high. Nah, whatever I say, I'm gonna stand on it. Who I rock with, I rock with. Who I support, and I'm gonna support them win, lose, or draw. But the Lakers are down 0-3 right now to the Denver Nuggets. Shout out to the Denver Nuggets. Outperformed anything I ever thought was gonna happen throughout the entire playoffs. I'm not mad one bit. They got a back-to-back MVP in Jokic, and Jamal Murray has been on fire throughout this entire playoffs, getting better and better every game. And they've been dominating. They dominated the first three games of this series. I mean, at this point, I don't ever give up hope until the ship is all the way sunk. So I ain't gonna say defeat until it's actually a defeat in the works. But ain't nobody come back from 0 from being down 0-3. So those are the odds right there. It's not ever happened. But you know what? If anybody could make it happen, it would be LeBron James. So I'm gonna still keep up hope for at least for another day.
what I mean, that's all you can do. That I don't want to pile on to the Lakers because I just think this is a super tough matchup for them. And we talked about this even before the playoffs when you and I were in agreement that hey, we thought the Lakers could beat the Grizzlies. And I said there
Mhm.
were several teams in the West I thought the Lakers could beat, and that's how we end up with the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals. But Denver was the number one seed for a reason. And Denver, though they tailed off late in the season when they kind of had number one already locked up, this is who they
Mhm.
were all year. Jokic played like an MVP. Jamal Murray looked closer to bubble Murray than he was the last 2 years when he was kind of dealing with injuries. Michael Porter has taken a little leap in his game. And then when you add in the quality role players like Aaron Gordon, on most teams, Aaron Gordon might be your third best player. On this team,
Yeah.
he's an afterthought. KCP, who's a proven winner, who's a guy who won a ring with LeBron and AD. Bruce Brown, who's a really good two-way 3-and-D guy. The Nuggets, Jeff Green, a really crafty veteran that you can bring in and gives you really good minutes. This is a really tough matchup for the Lakers, just because of the depth of the rotation that the Nuggets have. But I'm not. I'm surprised it's 3-0, but I'm not surprised that the Nuggets have played as well as they have because they were this good all year.
Yeah. I'm not that. I agree with you on that 1,000%. Um, I thought the series would be 2-1 at this point. But you know, guys got to make better plays. Too many turnovers. Too many bad shots. LeBron had a couple of, I don't know what happened. Especially in game two with the alley when he was
Some
missed the
question,
dunk,
yeah, some
the
questionable
layup.
decision making, yeah.
You know what I mean? But listen, ain't nothing else but to do but take this thing one game at a time, and that's it. That's all you can do. Um,
Shout
so
out to
we got
Boom Man. I see him in here already. Shout out to him.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm not being able to open up the comments. Eric, you might have to pull up the comments because for some reason I'm not. There you
There we
go.
go.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know why I'm not being able to pull up the
Um,
adjust anything.
so Trip and I, we obviously we didn't get to record the last 2 weeks, so we didn't get a chance to give a on-air prediction. But I know Trip had the Lakers. I did have Denver. As I referenced before, even before the playoffs started, I thought Denver would be a tough matchup for anybody in the West. This is one of them situations where AD needs to be more consistent. He hasn't been as consistent. Obviously, D'Angelo Russell has been really bad this series shooting the ball. So those are the areas that, like, again, the Lakers just depth wise, it's you got to be on your A game against the Nuggets every night, and the Lakers just haven't.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. You got to get more consistency out of Anthony Davis. Like he has to be the guy. He has to make Jokic pay on a deep. I mean, Anthony Davis is one of the best defensive big men in basketball. You gotta do better. Guarding Jokic. You can't let him get away with having Ryu guarding him the entire game. You gotta step up and you have to start guarding him.
Yeah, I didn't understand the Rui talk after game one. Rui only guarded him, I think, 6 possessions, and some of the media kind of ran away with that narrative, like, oh, they're going to switch that over. Like, Rui's not a guy that can guard him consistently for 30 plus minutes a night. AD's got to take on that challenge. And shout out to Mike Hoop's page. He's right. LeBron doesn't look good. Some won't say it, and you're right. Some people don't want to criticize LeBron, but you got to call it what it is. But we also got to be fair too. This team was not supposed to be still so reliant on LeBron at this point in his career. AD at this point was supposed to take the jump to be more of the alpha with LeBron more as the supporting cast. LeBron has still had to carry this team to this point because AD has been so inconsistent. And I think Bron has run out of gas. And we knew that was going to happen. We hinted at that during the regular season trip. We knew
Yeah,
at some point it was going to catch up to them. They were hoping that it wouldn't happen until, maybe the finals or something. But right now, the other guys, specifically AD, have to be more consistent. Bron is carrying too much of the load. And you can tell he's tired because he's settling for a lot of jump shots and a lot of threes, and that's not his game.
yeah. I mean, yeah, he's trying a lot. I mean, shout out to Austin Reeves. Austin Reeves is playing his way into the bag right now. He's been doing damn near everything possible that he could do to help the Lakers. But again, with the inconsistencies of Anthony Davis, D'Angelo Russell's been very inconsistent. Um, you know, Listen, Schroeder's. I don't expect Schroeder to be putting up 19 points a game when he's guarding Jamal Murray, when he's guarding Steph Curry in the season before. I don't expect him to put up 19 a game. So you're gonna have to get that from other places. Rio has been awesome for the Lakers. Giving them a whole lot of offense, giving them some defense. But D'Angelo Russell has to step up. He has to make shots in the series. It can't just be on LeBron and AD, especially when AD is not being consistent. He's giving us every other game right now, where he gives a dominating performance. So, I mean, again, being down 0-3 is damn near impossible. It's pretty much impossible. But if you're the Lakers, one game at a time, that's all you can do.
Yeah, and shout out to Hoop Bowler Scoop. I said that. And I agree with you. We're focusing on what the Lakers haven't had. But I started off this segment by saying that the Nuggets were a terrible matchup for the Lakers. I said that even before the playoffs started, when people were flirting with the idea of, like, should the Lakers try to get out of the playing game and move up to potentially 5 or 4? And I'm like, that second round matchup with the Nuggets would be really tough. And then we even to hint at the playing game, if they are the 8th seed, that would be a terrible matchup for them. So the Nuggets have been phenomenal. The Nuggets are fully healthy now. We're seeing the growth of their young guys. Obviously, Murray, we saw this before in the bubble, but now he's showing it again. But the growth of their other guys, their rotational guys, like I said, this is a very talented team. Yeah, they got the 2-time MVP, but you got guys with a lot of all-star potential on that team as well. They play very well. They know their style. And at all times, there are scorers on the floor. For the Lakers, you can't say that. There are times when the Lakers roll out a lineup where it's going to be tough for them to score right now. For the Nuggets, it always seems like they always got at least 2 scorers on the floor.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely.
So, Trip, I'm gonna let you go from there because I feel your energy dwindling right now as this conversation goes on, man.
Nah, you know what? Nah, man. Listen, I can't. There's nothing I can say. Yo, they down on three right now. So what am I gonna say? They fight back. That's it. That's all I can say. Is fight back. On the other side of things, though, Eastern Conference, playoff
Which
Jimmy. I guess that's the new thing now. Is that what we're
and
going with?
it's got to be playoff Jimmy, and it's just been that way for several seasons now, especially since he's gotten to Miami. Because remember, a couple years ago in the bubble, he led them to the finals with some great playoff performances. Last year, they were one shot away from going back to the finals, and now
Yeah.
this year, and that leads right into Ron's comment right here. I'm gonna put that up there, Trip. You can go ahead and kick that off.
Eric, you're gonna have to do it. I don't know if something on my side is I can't see the comments right now. You're gonna have to read
Oh,
it off.
okay. So Ron said, "What does Jason Tatum? Oh, what does Jason Tatum keep coming up short in the fourth for like two straight games? Jalen Brown is shaky at two at times. So I'm gonna let you kick it off with the Jason Tatum fourth quarter struggles, very bad execution, poor decision making, and then just some really like out of sync play. I mean, having two travel calls against you in game one, and just shaky down the stretch in game two. What do you make of Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown so far now that they're down 0-2?
Uh Man, y'all better get it together and fast, cause you about to go to Miami and play the next two games on the road. We know there's a difference with guys at home, especially the role players and the way they play on the road and at home. This is gonna be the longest Miami road trip that Boston has probably ever been on. Was Grant Williams poked the bear? He thought it was a smart thing. Did you not see when Jimmy Butler took the third string cats and beat the starters in Minnesota and then dropped the mic and walked off? Did you not see that? Jimmy Butler is one of the ones, and he's continuing to prove that in the playoffs. Miami done been to the finals in the bubble. They've been on several deep playoff runs, and now they're back in the Eastern Conference Finals, up 2-0. When the first two games were being played in Boston, and again, they're doing this without Tyler Hero as well. That's the other thing. Tyler Hero's he went out in the first round. So one of your top players is not even there anymore, and Jimmy Butler still got those guys playing some incredible basketball. And I picked Miami in this series. I said Jimmy Butler might surprise you, and it's looking like he's surprise, surprise. I'm here. Playoff Jimmy is here. What y'all gonna do about it?
I think so. I think Ron's question is great because this is something that we've asked for a little while now about Boston. Last year in the finals, they had some late game struggles in a series where I really thought they probably were better than Golden State. It was really Steph Curry and Golden State at a certain point in that series, and Boston couldn't put them away. And now we're seeing it again with the late game execution. I think Joe Mazzulla, this is that point when you're a inexperienced head coach and it starts to show. When they gave up the big lead in game one and game two, he, for whatever reason, wasn't willing to call timeouts to stop the run. He allowed Miami to just go on a run and never kind of slowed them down or forced them to, let's settle this game down a little bit. Hoop Baller Scoop, shout out to you on that as well. When you talk about them keep losing 10-point losses, 10-point margins, and they blowing leads. I think this is a combination of Joe Mazzulla just being an inexperienced head coach, and for whatever reason, Tatum and Brown go so ISO heavy late in games. This team doesn't run much of an offense. They got three guys trying to play hero ball because if it's not Tatum or Brown, Marcus Smart thinks that he's the guy that it needs to run through, and he's going to take the shot. And I think Boston's in a lot of trouble. I expect Boston to win tonight because I thought this was going to be at least a 6-game series. So for competitive sake, I think they win tonight. But Boston has a lot of questions that they need to answer. And Ron, yeah, I think they miss Udoka. I really do. I also, again, Mazzulla, I think it's just getting to a point where he's a little bit in over his head. This is a situation where he has not ever had to coach. He's never had to experience this. And he's going up against a Hall of Fame head coach in Eric Spoelstra. He's going up against a guy who's going to throw multiple adjustments at you, who's going to do so many different things during the game that you're going to have to adjust to in the moment. And if you've never experienced it before, it can become overwhelming. And I think that's what we're seeing. That leads to the point that Hoop Baller Scoop mentioned about the double-digit leads that they keep losing. So there's a part of that. They miss Udoka. They miss a little bit more leadership. This team maybe isn't as tough as they should be. Got a lot of talent on their team, But we saw it last year in the finals as well. You can muscle them around. You can push them around. And we know Miami's always going to be tough. Jimmy Butler's never going to allow his team to just back down and concede to anybody. They're going to play tough every game. So toughness, coaching, Boston's in a lot of trouble right now, Trip.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I can't hear you though.
Oh man, we got to get your audio right. I'm gonna go to Lene's question here, and then let me know if we can get your audio right. Trip.
I can't hear you.
Check your settings, Trip. I'm gonna get to Lene's question right here.
Back in.
But it's hold on, and bring her question up here. But as fans, don't you want to see new teams like Nuggets win it? They pleasing to watch. I want Celtics, Nuggets in the finals. Nuggets are fun to watch. I agree. I want the best teams, not necessarily always just a new team. The best team. I think the Nuggets are the best team in the West. Regular season, they proved it. So far in the playoffs, they proved it. You know, if they knock off the Lakers, we're talking about this Nuggets team that kind of got overlooked by everybody, but they ran Phoenix right out the gym, got them out of there quick, and they're running the Lakers right out the gym. So the Nuggets are the best team in the West. I would like to see the Celtics, but I'm gonna be honest, I want to see the best team. And right now, Miami looks like the best team. Spoelstra looks like the best coach. Still left in the playoffs. Jimmy Butler looks like the best player still left in the playoffs. And with a team that has 7 undrafted guys on it, to even be in this position is remarkable. So if the Heat go to the finals, I would be more than happy to watch a Miami Heat Denver Nuggets series.
Absolutely. They're gonna have to start getting like playoff coach of the playoffs or something. They're gonna have to start adding that in as a new award for Eric Spoelstra because they don't want to give him coach of the year during the regular season. And all he do is keep taking the Heat on deep playoff runs. And they ain't showing that man no love. And again, here he is again in the Eastern Conference Finals, up 2-0, and he played the first 2 games on the road. Like get that man his respect, get that man his flowers right now. Eric, I definitely might have to, go get the my Miami shirt and make my way down to Miami and talk. We got to talk to the boy Joes and let them know we in town. We need them seats. We need them good old seats for this next playoff game because they don't even rock with basketball like that in Miami anyway. So we can go there and get a good seat.
There's always a lot of good seats out there, but I will give the Heat a lot of credit because they have been undefeated at home during the playoffs. And so that makes this challenge for Boston even tougher. Shout out to Brandon. This is a good comment as well. Boston kind of plays better with their back against the wall, too. It's like they don't ball out until they're desperate. That's a great point. They better be desperate now, though. They better be desperate now because, again, you're down 0-2 going to Miami. Miami's crowd hasn't been the greatest, but it doesn't matter because the Heat as well, they're just playing well at home. Brandon also said, I'm going to put up the other comment right here as well, Brandon. I tell LeBron to stop shooting threes like he can shoot. He's determined to shoot threes. You may have just joined the show, but I said that a minute ago. I think that's a lot to do with fatigue. I think he's a little gassed out. I think he's a little tired, and he's settling for some shots that normally he wouldn't. But again, we're into the 3rd round of the playoffs. You're talking about a player with a lot of mileage on his body at this point, and he's trying to conserve as much energy as possible because he understands that there's still a lot left to these playoffs. And, unfortunately, they're up against a team that he can't conserve energy against. The Nuggets just aren't allowing him to conserve energy. There's a big difference. No disrespect to the Golden State Warriors because they were the defending champs. But what Denver has in terms of depth and the players that can throw at LeBron, Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr., Jeff Green, they're throwing a lot more athleticism at him than Golden State could, and he's gassing out.
Yeah.
Hey, Trip, I don't know if you can see it. I'm going to put this question up for you. Let me know if you can see it. All right, let me know. Yeah, go ahead. I'm going to let you pick that up.
Do y'all bench D'Angelo Russell? Yeah. You do what you got to do. You see they changed up the lineup for was it Game 6 against the Warriors? You put who's got the hot hand in, whether it be on offense or on defense. And I said this earlier in the program, you can't expect Schroeder to put up 18, 19 points a game when he's guarding Jamal Murray and time like that. He's guarding Steph and all of these guys. But yeah, you got to try to cool him off somehow. And Schroeder's the only guy seeming like on the team because, we could go back to, LeBron shutting down Derrick Rose in the playoffs, but this ain't that LeBron. Okay, LeBron is a lot older now, so he's not. You can't have LeBron trying to guard Jamal Murray for 4 quarters. So if Schroeder's, doing a better job on him, then listen, try to tire him down a little bit. Try to make him miss a shot or two. Do what you got to do. Maybe coming off the bench, in this series will help D'Angelo Russell. But again, it's just coaching. It's making adjustments. So who's gonna make the next adjustment? Can Darvin Ham make the adjustment to get one game in? And if he can get that one, can he make some more adjustments to get 2 games in and go from there?
I mean, listen, you can go with the benching of D'Angelo, and it may spark something. But D'Angelo's still going to get minutes, and you need his minutes to be as productive as possible.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you can bench him, but you still need him to play better. And I think it's very telling how Denver came out and let it be known from jump, like, we're going to attack D'Angelo Russell. And they said it right after game one. Mm-hmm. And that's what they've done. You saw Jamal Murray was on fire last night in the first half of that game. So benching him only solves a small part of your problem. Whatever minutes D'Angelo gets, even if you cut him down to 15 minutes, those are going to be 15 minutes that the Nuggets attack him consistently. Mm-hmm. And he's got to be better. He's got to give you a little something on the other end to be on the court. So unless you're talking about completely benching him and not playing him, I don't think that's even the answer. You still got to find a way to make it work when he's on the floor. Yep. But it's not just D'Angelo. I mean, D'Angelo's going to get a lot of the brunt of the criticism because he has to play better as the starting point guard on this team. But I just think in general, everyone else has to play better. It's tough, but you got to up the level of your play now in the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw this other question up there, Trip, and you'll take that one to start it off, and we go from there as well.
Okay. Shout out to Lene Jones. I don't know. We related, Lene? I don't know. Jamal Murray, I believe, has had 30 plus every game. I love Dennis and Vanderbilt, but no one on the Lakers can guard Murray. Let's be real. Yeah, I agree. Schroeder's doing as good as he can. Vanderbilt's going to do as much as he can. But yeah, there's not one player on the Lakers that can guard Jamal Murray and stop him from doing whatever he wants to do. Again, if this was Miami, Miami is locked him down already. But this ain't that. So, somebody else got to, fill in that void, and ain't nobody done it as of yet because he's pretty much doing everything he wants out there. He's dancing on him.
Yeah, shout out to Lene. She definitely locked in because he has had 30 every game. But yeah, I mean, this is what we knew could make Denver special. We already knew about the Joker, but we wondered, can they get Bubble Murray? And I think now he's better than what he was in the bubble.
Yeah.
Just his offensive skill set. When you watch him play, he gets to wherever he wants to get on the court. He can get whatever shot he wants. And then he's doing this again as the second best player because you have to focus so much on Joker. And then while he's doing that, you got Aaron Gordon running the baseline, getting easy layups and putbacks. You got Michael Porter Jr. operating on the perimeter. You got Bruce Brown cutting. You got so many things going on with Denver. They're super tough to stop. But Jamal Murray right now, the level he's playing at is what's making this team so special because now you got two guys who are really able to dominate at their position. Yeah. AD is losing a matchup to Joker, and both of the Laker point guards are losing their matchup to Jamal Murray. It's really tough.
Yeah. I mean, let me ask you this. A healthy Mo Bamba, does he make any difference?
No, I don't think so. I mean, he would give them another body, but even style of play, I believe Hoop Baller Scoop mentioned earlier about the Nuggets just getting out on the Lakers and running every time they get a chance to. Mo might help him a little bit from an athleticism standpoint, but I mean, could you really play Mo next to AD for extended minutes? I don't know because I don't.
Tough.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I think Mo maybe helps out a little bit, but it's just the style of play.
Here and there.
Yeah, but the style of play from the Nuggets, the depth of their team, it's really coming down to the Nuggets are getting far more production from their like top 6, top 7 guys, and the Lakers aren't getting that same production from their top 6, top 7.
Yeah. That's what it is. So we need to see a lot of changes within the next 24 hours, or it's over for that balling.
It could be over. And listen, man, I don't. If there are no moral victories in pro sports, so this isn't a pat on the back. Hey, but I will say that the Lakers did change their season completely with the moves they made at the deadline. Unfortunately, you've reached a point now where you have a lot of guys, you're relying on a lot of guys who never had to execute in this spot, right?
Yes.
Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, D'Angelo Russell, Vanderbilt. Those are four of your key guys. None of those guys have ever had to play big minutes in a series like this. On the flip side, you got to remember the Nuggets, they lost in the bubble in the Western Conference Finals to the Lakers. So those young guys have slowly gotten to this point. This isn't an overnight thing. This is a young team that has slowly developed into a title contender. So they know the importance of these minutes and they know how to operate in these situations. The Lakers on the other side, they have guys who have just never been here, and it shows. It shows in the two teams.
Yeah, absolutely. What we had with it? We did have the lottery. We know who's getting number one. We know who's going to be getting the Frenchman. I believe Wimbayana is going to be going to the San Antonio Spurs as they have the number one pick in the draft. And when I think about who's the projected number one pick this year, it automatically brings me back to what was that 97, 98 draft? Was that
90? If you're talking about Tim Duncan,
yes,
that is the 98 draft.
98 draft, yes. There you go. It brought me straight back to my main man, Tim Duncan, the greatest power forward of all time. Listen, man, I like it for the Spurs. You know, the Spurs got away with international players, and this kid is, I've seen him play. I like what he does on offense, on defense. He does a little bit of everything. He's 7'4". My only concern is the same concern I have with guys at that height. When you're talking about not just 7-footers, not even just 7'1". We're talking about a young kid that's 7'4". We seen what last year. We seen was Chet Holmgren. We seen him go down for the season. So my only concern or my only wonder is, can he stay healthy? Can he stay on the court? It seems that he's done that so far. But either way, this kid is the biggest prospect since LeBron James. So just talk to me about what this means for the Spurs.
I mean,
that number one pick.
It means everything. I want to shout out Trandis Johnson. He said, did he just give the Lakers a moral victory? And then he, LOL'd it. I did, because that's my man. That's my man Trip's team. I don't want Trip to feel bad about what's going on right now. So I did. I did give him a moral victory. But what I was about to say, for the Spurs, I mean, it's amazing because, as you mentioned, Wembanyama is the best prospect since LeBron in terms of how scouts feel about his potential in the league. That's not saying he's going to be LeBron. I'm just saying in terms of where people view his potential and what he can do and the skill set that he's displayed so far. So for the Spurs, it is a great opportunity now to rebuild and rebuild quick. You have a Hall of Fame head coach in Greg Popovich. Obviously, you're never going to be a free agent destination in San Antonio, but now that you have Wembanyama, now you can try to build around him with Keldon Johnson and with Wembanyama, and they have some building blocks now. And you hope that it all goes well for the young man there because, again, it's a great system that he's walking into.
I kind of wish they still had DeJounte Murray. I would love to see those two pick and roll with those two guys. Oh man, that'd have been something special. But I'm sure San Antonio, got some more tricks up their sleeve.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to try to build it in. This might be a situation where you go find a veteran to come in to help the team kind of speed track to know what it's like to be a professional team day in, day out, and what it takes to win. I mean, of course, if you could have a DeJounte Murray on his team, it would help out a lot. But ultimately, the Spurs, they're rebuilding. And Wembanyama is going to be great to watch the first couple of years as he develops into a potential all-star and beyond that. This doesn't change much in the landscape of the league. But 4 years from now, we may be having a different conversation about the Spurs. Right now, it's a great opportunity, and let's see what happens from that opportunity.
Yeah, because if when you think about it, listen, San Antonio is known for picking gems that you don't look at this kid and say, oh, he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. And San Antonio drafts him, and you get a Tony Parker. You get a Manu Ginobili. Guys that just turn out to be superstar level talents, Hall of Fame talents, the Spurs have been known, to pick those guys. So now you have a chance though where we're picking an actual franchise changing player with the number one pick. And again, they're used to picking big men because before Tim Duncan, David Robinson, and so they know how to handle themselves with the power forward center position. They usually make good choices, and I think he's going to be that choice for them. And I for one, I hope he is able to stay healthy because I really want to see what he can do in this league.
I do too. I think the kid is a great talent, and I would like to see what he can do at this next level. But
Mhm.
only time will tell. And like I said, on paper, yes, we get excited about him going there with Pop, but realistically, this has no impact on the league at least until 4 years down the line if he turns into everything we think.
Yeah,
Because
because the Spurs
make,
aren't there yet.
right, make no mistake, we've seen a lot of phenomenal players who were the number one pick who
Mhm.
never turned their team into title contenders.
Yeah,
It was just the
they was just
excitement of
really.
right. It was just the excitement of what they were and what they could be. So it's the same thing right now with Wembanyama. There's a lot of excitement about what he is and what he could potentially be. But
Yes.
until 3, 4 years down the line, we'll get a better idea. We're still waiting on Zion to fulfill everything we think he's going to be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Facts.
Um, I will say in terms of the draft, I'm super interested to see what Portland would do at number 3 because most draft boards have Brandon Miller and Scoot Henderson as 2 and 3 in whatever order you prefer them to be. Scoot Henderson was in the G League. Brandon Miller was down in Alabama.
Hmm.
It doesn't seem like Portland is trying to be or close enough to be a title contender. And we know they have phenomenal talent in Dame Lillard. And now that you're sitting at 3, if you're going to draft Scoot, 6'2" combo guard, and you already have Anthony Simons, is this maybe the summer that Dame finally gets traded to a contender or to another location in general?
I hope so. And if he do, I hope he goes to run with LeBron in LA next season. So
I'm gonna
yeah,
put.
I'll root for that.
I,
But yeah, I mean, listen, yeah, they do have that pick. I mean, it's possible they could trade the pick as well. But yeah, if you're drafting this young kid, I mean, I can only because why would you draft another small guard and Dame is going to be there? So maybe they are going to start entertaining
hey,
offers.
I want to say this. I want to put Courtney's comment up here because this is why I love all of our supporters and people who tune in. You know what I'm saying? Like the knowledge, right? So first she starts off, got to give my girl Brianna Stewart some love today, 45-12, which is phenomenal. WNBA season just kicked off this week. That is phenomenal. And then she goes on to say, I was praying they gave the GOAT MJ the first pick. Who should the Hornets go with the second pick? Henderson or Miller? So shout out to Courtney because obviously you're locked in. You know what's going on.
Hmm.
Trip, I'm gonna let you go now. You got Brandon Miller, who's a 6'9", kind of he is more of a perimeter, but obviously in the league he's gonna play the 3 or the 4 because now everybody plays more of a guard oriented smaller lineup. So 6'9" is still a power forward in today's game. Or
Yeah.
you go with Scoot Henderson at 6'2", who's a do it all guard, super explosive.
Um. You know what? Can I throw another hat in the ring?
Okay.
The kid was the kid. Amon. What's the kid's name? Amon Johnson. I think that's his name. His last name. I forget his last name. But Amon Johnson. I think he's like 6'7" point guard, something like that.
Okay.
I got to look him up. But I
Amon,
might even
you talking about Amon Thompson?
Amon Thompson. Excuse me.
Yeah.
There you go. Yes, that's him. Yeah, I might go with him with that pick up before I take both of them. To be honest with you, this is well, I mean, I know they do have Lamelo there, who's also in the 6'7" point guard, but Lamelo's also he can shoot, he can knock down the three. I wouldn't mind having two big guards in the league because I mean, you got to think they're young right now. Both of those guys are young, quick, and get up and down the court. So I wouldn't even mind going and getting another bigger guard. But I could also see them taking Scoot too because obviously you got Lamelo over there at 6'7", so maybe they might want to switch things up. But yeah, I might go with Amen Thompson before I take either one of them.
So they may go with Amon Thompson. I'm not saying that he's not on their radar. I don't know if they go with him at number 2.
Mm.
There's it really does, as Courtney mentioned, it comes down to those 2 guys. It's either going to be Henderson or Miller at number 2. For me, I would go with Miller. I think Miller's game is similar to a Brandon Ingram. And if you can put Brandon Miller, I said Brandon because I'm talking about Brandon Ingram, but if you could put Miller with LaMelo, then I think you have some really good building blocks. So I think they go there. Scoot Henderson is a really good guard, but again, he's a ball dominant guard, and I don't think you would pair him with LaMelo. You would probably
because LaMelo's gonna have the ball in his hands.
Right, LaMelo. The usage rate is going to be going all through LaMelo, and you don't want to change that at all. So I think Miller is the better fit there for what he can do in his skill set and what you're trying to build with. And then Scoot would slide to number 3. Courtney also has another great question here as well. Please touch on the Ja Morant second time with the gun on IG Live.
I'm about to get to that.
Yeah, how many games should he miss? And some saying he didn't break no law, so he want to be a thug, don't he? Trip, kick it off.
Okay, first and foremost, no, he did not break any laws because he's in an open carry state. So let's be clear with that. Now, what you did was you're breaking the morals clauses that's in these contracts when you're dealing with all these advertisements and things like that. They all have morals clauses. They don't want to see the face of their brand toting a gun, listening to NBA YoungBoy talking about drilling something. So, now you have a situation with Ja Morant where, everybody, I'm not going to say everybody, because we definitely spoke our piece on it, but, you have a situation where people went easy. A lot of people gave him the benefit of the doubt. They coddled him. He did the little 2 days was in rehab in Orlando. From somebody who has worked in the substance abuse field and who has a family history in the substance abuse field, I don't know what in 2 days. I don't know anybody sat and said, okay, yeah, he's gonna be good. If he's really dealing with some type of alcohol abuse or anything like that, 2 days is not going to get you back to where you need to be. So I already know, that I knew that was some BS. But now you have a situation. You're in a dumb situation where you're messing up the bag. That's what you're doing. You in less than 2 months' time, you got caught again with another gun and another live video on Instagram. I think the suspension should be a minimum of 30 games because you were talking about back-to-back offenses plus everything else, but this is literally in the same season in the course of 2 months. I think at least 30 games he needs to be suspended because the only way you're going to get through the job at this point is to take away the game of basketball from him, and you do that through a lengthy suspension. Let him feel it in his bank account. Because and usually, listen, I'm not with taking nobody's money, but in this situation, this is a young kid who has to learn, and he's going to have to learn the hard way. We all gave him a pass, we gave him a chance, and you put yourself right back in the situation. And to the people that are around Ja, you are not his friends because you are not holding him accountable, and you're not holding yourselves accountable. For everything that's going on with Ja Morant right now, especially after seeing him get in trouble, get suspended less than 2 months ago, and then come back and we're doing the same thing. Like, bro, nobody had the serious talk with him. What's wrong with you? What are you doing? You are effing up the bag. What are we doing here?
Nah, that's a fact. I'm gonna say this. So, as you mentioned, right, he didn't break the law, but I work for the federal government, right, and I live just outside of DC. Marijuana is legal. As Trip knows, Trip has come down here to visit. We hung out. You can find a dispensary on damn near every corner. Mm-hmm. But as an employee of the federal government, I cannot smoke. So I don't get the pass that, just because it's legal, I can do it. Same goes for Ja Morant. Just because it's legal in his state or because it's not illegal to have the gun doesn't mean that the league is just going to look past it and say, oh, well, it's cool because it's not illegal. No, the league has had to deal with these type of issues in the past, most notably Gilbert Arenas. And this is a black eye for the league because when you're dealing with billions of dollars and top-notch sponsors, the last thing we want is a guy that we really like and want to promote. Because make no mistake, the league wants to promote Ja Morant.
Yes.
But the last image we want to represent is a guy who's riding around with his friends toting guns. Especially when just last summer, there was a police report where he pulled a gun on a 17-year-old kid, I think at a house party or a barbecue he was having at his crib. So there's this ongoing issue with John Morant where he doesn't seem to understand the severity of what he's doing. And so to Tripp's point, I'm gonna go a little higher. You said about 30 games. I think they're gonna suspend him for the first half of the year. I think he's gonna miss at least 40 games to prove a point that we cannot have this. We will not tolerate this because again, we view you as one of the faces of the league. And the last thing we want is for you to accidentally discharge that weapon one day. And now we're dealing with a Plexico Burris situation. Or possibly
I'm okay with that too. I'm absolutely okay with half the season.
Right. Or possibly worse, because this is another one that people forget. Remember when Jason Williams accidentally shot his limo driver and killed him?
Mm-hmm.
The league does not want to deal with that. Yep. And so John Morant has to understand that this image he's giving off, listen, there are people who are trying to knock where Ja grew up and, oh, you're not like that. It ain't about you not like that. You are a businessman now. You play in the NBA. Enough is enough, bro. If you want to let your mans tote that and you make sure they able to carry legally, that's cool. But you can't put yourself in them situations because you are the bag. Literally, you are the bag. And one fatal mistake, one terrible mistake you make could ruin it, not only for yourself, but all the people that depend on you. John Morant got to cut it out. I think the league will suspend him for at least half the season. I think it's going to at least be a 40-game suspension.
Well, I do want to say one other thing. I want to comment. Steven Jackson, he posted a picture of was it Chris Kaman? I believe it was.
Yep.
Holding the
former NBA player Chris Kaman.
Chris Kaman holding the rifles and whatnot, and there's so much that goes into in as far as race issues and things of that nature. I don't want to bring the race issue into this one because obviously, that's Chris Kaman. He is holding weapons, but the difference is those are for hunting. So it's not the same thing as you just in a video on live jamming to drill music and you toting a gun. That's two completely different things. So I don't want people to use the cop out and turn this into a race thing. Oh, well, they didn't say anything to this guy, but they're going to say something to John Morant. No. These are two completely different situations. Go ahead, Eric.
No, and Stack knows that too, though. Because as we mentioned, right, first of all, Chris Kaman has been out of the league for several seasons. Yes. So him posting hunting rifles in his home or cabin or wherever he's at is completely different than Ja in the off season. Mind you, and during the season, posting videos of having guns out in situations where it's like, all right, this looks sketchy. Secondly, Stack is a big advocate for marijuana use, right? But Stack never spoke about that when he was a player. He waited till he was out of the league and retired to talk about the advantages of marijuana use. Why? Because he knew as a player, it would draw a certain spotlight on him that he didn't need. It would draw a certain attention on him like, oh, so if you smoke, we're going to start drug testing you more often. So he didn't speak about marijuana use when he was a player because he knew the league frowned upon it. The same thing with the gun situation. You may be somebody who loves guns. You may love going to the range, shooting your guns in the backyard, whatever the case may be. But you work for the NBA. You work for the NBA. So you keep that on the hush, just like most of us do. Everyone, you and I included, anybody who tunes into the show, there are certain things that your employer doesn't know that you do. Why? Because you know it could jeopardize your employment.
Yes.
So when I'm on the clock, I'm a certain way. When I'm off the clock, I'm a certain way.
Yeah.
That's fine. But I'm not gonna go on IG Live and do things that I know could jeopardize now the bag just for the sake of my followers. Like,
well, listen, I shoot with kids all the time. However I feel about marijuana as a grown man, I'm not about to go smoke a blunt in front of some kids sitting in a drug-free school zone. That's just crazy.
Right. And you wouldn't smoke on your IG Live knowing that you have potential business partners that could tune into that.
Yeah. Unless like I'm Snoop or somebody like that, and that's my brand. But other than that, you know what I'm saying? No, I'm not just. You're not just out here doing nonsense while you're on the clock. This just is what it is. Anyone who has ever had a job in their life, who owns a business, who's any type, athlete, entertainer, at least we shouldn't be. I'm not gonna say we're not, because a lot of people are doing nonsense. But we shouldn't be doing things on our job that's gonna get us fired if we know it's gonna get us fired or suspended or fined or whatever the case may be. Why are we putting ourselves in a position where somebody can take money out of our pockets? For what?
And as you said too, to start it off, this is only 2 months removed from when you were sent away for 8 games. So now the level of accountability has to get questioned, because it's like, if we sent you away for 8 games to figure things out, and now you're doing this right away. So were you ever remorseful for anything that happened in the past?
No. Now I can't believe that. Right. Now you got to show me the change that you're saying that was made the last time. Now you got to show me that. Show me that you're taking accountability, and not by just serving a suspension either. That's not even how you show me that you're taking accountability. Change behavior is how you show me that you're taking accountability. Change the people that surround you, that's not checking you, that's allowing you to be out here doing this nonsense. Because I have not ever once played an NBA game in my life. Eric, I don't think you have either. But I never have. But I can guarantee that if either one of us were NBA players making millions of dollars, we're not going to be like, I think today I'm going to go on live and flash my gun. No, we know what the NBA accepts and what they don't accept. And gun violence or anything that's projecting that, or, especially with one of the faces of their brand, which is a very big brand, they're not trying to hear that. You know that already. I'm not in the NBA. Eric's not in the NBA. We know that already. So how do you not know that already? And then on top of that, when they told you, how did you get caught up doing the same thing 2 months later?
I'm just curious to know, like, if you Ja Morant, right, you chilling with your man, John in the car, whatever, or in a club situation, and then your man's like, I'm about to go on live. My first question would be like, why? Why you even want to go on live?
Yeah.
What you so fucking worried to show off to everybody?
I don't know. You went to Cranbrook. That's a private school. I don't want to. What are we doing here, John?
I'm just because I'm just curious of that, because, and maybe it comes with age. I don't know, but I never was the type. Trip, we've been out plenty of times. Neither one of us are the type that, let's pull out our phone and show everybody where we at. Why?
Yeah.
I could care less if people know where I'm at in the moment. And if you're Ja Morant and you're worth millions of dollars, I think you should care less too.
Bro, it makes no sense. He needs better people around him. And the first time, I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt. Now I'm flat out telling you need better people around you, because there's no way that Eric is in the league and he's out here pulling out a gun and I'm with him and I'm gonna say, or I'm not gonna say anything, or I'm just gonna, that's a great idea, Eric. Yeah, I know you just got that $200 million deal. You got Puma, or you got Nike, you got Gatorade, whatever the sponsors are. I know you got those sponsors that giving you those checks, but you know what? Go ahead. Let's go on live and show if you flashing your guns around. That sounds like a great idea. No, it's not. Get some better people around you. I don't know who needs to talk to him. I don't know if his parents spoke to him or whatever, but he needs somebody who is a lot more mature, a lot smarter than the people that have been around him. And I'm sorry, if you're Ja's friends and you're around him, you have to have him step his game all the way up if you're going to be around him. Like, I get it. We all want to show up the crowd because we got a celebrity friend. But at the end of the day, if the breadwinner in your circle is not generating that revenue, guess what? You are going to be in trouble. So part of your job is to make sure you do your part. Look at, and this is why I love this, you know what I'm saying? When we got to go back to LeBron James, talk about LeBron James, but look at the friends that are around LeBron James that he has with him, that he put on. Do you see what those guys are doing? Okay, Rich Paul. Okay, Maverick Carter, was it Randy Mims? Do you see what these brothers are doing? LeBron had his boys that he came up with. He put them all in position. He had them all around him. You see what they're doing, and you see what your boys are doing. Those ain't the cats that you need to have around you, brother. It is what it is.
I 1000% agree. We can move on because I agree.
It is what it is. All right, man. So, James Harden, is he moving back to Houston? I don't know. The talk. It's a lot of rumblings out there.
I mean, he can go wherever he want to go at this point because he ain't winning no matter where he
Mm.
go. We know that.
Yeah,
But
that's that's over with.
yeah, I mean, if he want to go to Houston, Udoka's going over there. They got some young
Hmm.
talent. They got another lottery pick, obviously. Maybe they want to try to kind of fast track a little bit more winning because if you do add Harden, let's be real, Harden is still at a level where he's going to help you win 40 plus games every year.
Hmm.
But in terms of developing a winning mindset and a winning culture, no, I wouldn't be excited about getting James Harden.
Yeah.
Especially with the young guys they already have in place. Like if I'm Jalen Green, why would I be excited about James Harden coming over here?
Yeah. Yeah, that is true. For the young guys,
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
like, hey,
let's. I mean, and don't get me wrong. On the surface, it sounds great. Like, oh yeah, they got Harden. All right, and then what? Remember when? Remember taking the battle rap. Remember when Surf was battling Conceited? He said, "You passed the Glock to Fox," and then what? Like that's how I feel about James Harden. And then what? Like, what does it mean, bro? It don't mean nothing. So
is there a team James Harden could go to, and win a championship?
yeah, but I mean, he would have to really take a step back and understand that one, not only are you not the best player, maybe you might have to become like the third best player. Like if,
Mhm.
honestly, like if he went to the Lakers, because he would be a massive upgrade over D'Angelo Russell,
Oh, absolutely.
right? If you put him with the Lakers, where it's like you're gonna be more of a catch and shoot guy and a guy who can alleviate some of the minutes for LeBron, yeah, I think that could work. Um,
Yeah.
if you put him, don't get me wrong, if you put him like with the elite stars of this league, if you put him with like Giannis and they were still
Mhm.
able to keep Chris Middleton, yeah, that could work. But
Yeah.
we just saw for 2 years with him as the second best player next to Joel
That
Embiid,
doesn't
who,
work.
right? I mean, Joel Embiid was the MVP this year and the MVP runner-up last year, and it couldn't work. So I don't know if him even being your number two guy can work. He would have to be your number three guy.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you have it.
Yeah.
Doc Rivers also out of Philly. Well, we don't know if Harden's out of Philly just yet, but Doc Rivers, we definitely know he's out of there. They let him go. It just ain't happening. It's not. It wasn't for him. What's for you was gonna be for you, but that just wasn't for him in Philly. So I hope he gets another job. I love Doc Rivers. I think he's a great coach and championship coach. But it's been a bad couple of years for Doc out in Philly. It didn't really, matriculate into anything. I don't even did they make an Eastern Conference Finals
No,
under Doc? I don't
they
even
have
think they
never.
went to the.
They 3 straight years second round. They lost to Atlanta in the second round. They
Yeah.
lost last year in the second round. I'm trying to remember who they lost to in the second round last year. I can't remember who they lost to last year in the
Was it the
second round.
Hawks? I think it was the Hawks.
Oh no, it was Miami. That's when Jimmy
Oh,
Butler
again.
said
Oh,
they.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, when
yeah.
he said they
He
chose
chose
Tobias
Tobias
over
Harris.
me. Yeah,
Yes.
and then
Yeah.
obviously this year against Boston,
Mhm.
um, Doc is gonna land on his feet. We know
Yeah.
that.
Absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely.
whenever you have a ring as a head coach, you're gonna find a job somewhere.
Hmm.
I think it's time that we start acknowledging what it is. Doc's best years as a coach are far behind him. He had a lot of
Yeah.
talent. He had a lot of talent with the Clippers for many years and
Hmm.
never materialized in anything. He's had a lot of talent in Philly for the last 3 years and it never materialized into anything. And I think we're at a point where it's like he's more about he right now he's more of a resume and a name than he is an impactful head coach.
Yeah. That's what it is. Shout out to Doc Rivers though. Before we talk boxing, let me just say this. We are back on our charity tour. The official is lit. They didn't open up the books for us. Balling for Peace is going down June 3rd. Celebrity basketball game hosted by my main man H2O, the family to the show. Shout out to Haran H2O Hargrave. He is putting on Balling for Peace. And of course, if Balling for Peace is going down, there's a dunk contest going down, then that means that Real Fans Real Talk is involved. And yes, we are involved with Born for Peace again, sponsoring the dunk contest. Shout out to some of the past winners: One Foot God, Maxwell Pierce, was it Nico? Shout out to to our past winners, but the dunk contest is officially back. We'll be back in the judges' seats, so get ready for that. If you haven't already, y'all can check out go to @Ballin' for Peace to get all the information and get your tickets. If you do want to pull up to the game, a lot of celebrities are going to be in the house. It is going to be at Lehman College in the Bronx this year, Eric. So we don't got to go that far. That's one of the things that I love about this year's Ballin' for Peace. We're gonna have Haran and one of the dunkers rocking out with us next weekend. So make sure you guys tune in for that. And also, we're gonna have NBA analyst Brandon Scoop B Robinson, joining us soon as well for a finals preview. So be on the lookout for that as well. With that being said, though, boxing fight night. Devin Haney, Lomachenko went the fight went the distance. Devin Haney got the decision. Personally, I wasn't mad that Devin Haney got the decision. You and I have spoken about fights like this in the past, Eric, and you have to take the belt from the champion. There's no room for discussion when you are the contender. I don't think Lomachenko took that from him. I think it was a very close fight. It could have went either way. But again, if you do not beat the champion, sometimes it's hard for you to get that decision.
I agree. And I actually had a heated conversation earlier today with a friend of mine. And I said, and I'm gonna repeat what I said then. Going into the last 2 rounds, I had Devin Haney up 6-4. I thought Lomachenko won 11 and 12. So in my personal opinion, I thought it was a draw. But the cards of 2 of the judges who had it 7-5 for Haney, I completely understand that, and I'm not mad with that. The Dave Moretti card that had an 8-4, I thought was very lopsided because I did think Lomachenko won more than 4 rounds. Yeah. But to your point, Lomachenko was good in spurts. He had moments, but I still thought Devin Haney did enough to maintain his belts and win the fight.
Yes.
And again, going into the 11th round, through the first 10 rounds, I thought Devin Haney won at least 6 of those rounds, which means that unless Lomachenko knocked him down in one of those last 2 rounds, at the very least, it was going to be a draw. So very good fight, very entertaining fight. If you're a fan of the sport of boxing, this is the type of fight you love because there were many adjustments made throughout the fight. But Lomachenko was just a little late in terms of just turning it on and trying to win this fight. And it kind of reminded me a little bit of when Lomachenko lost to Teofimo Lopez a couple years ago, where he started off a little slow, then came on late, and it wasn't enough to win. I think it was the same thing. Devin Haney did enough to win this fight. Was it super impressive by Devin Haney? No, but he did enough to win the fight, and I think the outcome was fine.
Yeah, I agree. Shakur Stevens got in the ring afterwards, called him out, which I love because I want to see that fight. I know you want to see that fight. Let's get to it. Set it up. In the words of my battle rap fans, set it up, Smack. We need that. We need that fight, and I want to see it. I think that one is going to be a good fight. That's going to be a candidate for fight of the year if they can actually make it happen. So let's do it. And then next up, June 10th, I believe is the next one. Teofimo Lopez is back in the ring versus Josh Taylor. He's going to be defending the belt in that one. My early prediction, I think Teofimo is going to defend that title. I don't see him losing the belt to Josh Taylor. Well, but who you got?
I remember early prediction. Right, early prediction. They're fighting for Josh Taylor's belts. Actually, I'm hoping Teofimo comes with a better performance than he did in his last fight. But I will say this: Teofimo, as has been publicly documented, was dealing with a lot of personal issues going into his last fight because he's going through a separation. It hasn't been official, but a separation from his wife, along with like a custody battle. And so it's very possible that he was distracted going to his last fight. He won that fight, but he didn't look super impressive. But this could be the makings of some great fights at 135 pounds because, as you mentioned, Shakur Stevenson went in the ring yesterday. Teofimo was once the undisputed champion at 135 before he lost to Kambosos, who ultimately lost to Haney. So the winner of Taylor, Teofimo, could be in line for a big fight against Haney. And then let's not forget, there's a guy who was very impressive when he fought recently, who fought at 136 pounds by the name of Tank Davis, who if Tank, let's keep it a buck, if Tank says, I want to fight for them belts, I think Devin Haney doesn't have any options. Devin Haney has to take that fight because the public demand for it is going to be too great. And
Absolutely.
so like I said, we just mentioned, 3 or 4 potential fighters, whether it's Shakur, whether it's Teofimo, maybe Josh Taylor if he wins, and Tank, where Devin Haney is going to have to answer the challenge of one of these guys, because one of those 4 guys is going to want to fight for all those belts. And those are going to be some tough fights as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree, and I'm looking forward to all of it. I want all the smoke. I want to see all of these fights. Let's get it, y'all. Y'all owe us boxing. Y'all owe us, and it's time to pay up. And you can pay up by having these fights, and we can keep boxing, can keep thriving. Oh, Drew, really quick, good friend of the show, the champ, Justin Big Time Biggs. He is going to be back in the ring on May 30th. So hit up my man Big Time Biggs. Get the fight details if you don't already have them. We've been posting them on the Real Fans Real Talk IG, so you can definitely get the info there as well. But listen, man, we pulling for you. We need the comeback fight to be another big time knockout, man. We need that. We need you to come back with the belt and let Eric put the belt on his shoulder again.
I'm gonna repost that video. Shout out to Big Time Biggs, man. We happy to see him back in the ring. I know he had to take a little time to get himself together, coming off an injury, but he is a super talented fighter. That again, he just needs more rounds. He just got to get rounds in and get back into that comfort zone. But he is a phenomenal fighter that's going to do great things in the sport. So we definitely looking forward to seeing him back.
Absolutely. Shout out to Big Time Biggs. Really quick before we get up out of here, a little bit of baseball news. We're just going to run through Mets and the Yankees climbing the power rankings. We had little rigid times in the mix up in there, but I think we back where we are supposed to be, back on track. Looking like come playoff time, we should be able to make a nice deep run there on both sides, National League and the American League, with the Yankees and the Mets. And I hate to end off the show with it, but I got to, because we got to pay homage to a great man, a great athlete, great philanthropist, great activist, great actor. One of my favorite players. And somebody, and I was thinking about this the other day, because we talked about my main man Joe Hunt on Shooting Shit a couple of weeks ago. We was talking about Joe Hunt. Jim Brown was Joe Hunt's favorite person in the world. So when I seen that, I thought about my main man Joe Hunt as well. But rest in peace to one of the best to ever lace him up, Hall of Famer, a guy who could have continued his career and put way more stats and accolades onto his record. A guy that's in one of my favorite movies, Original Gangsters. And somebody who was not afraid to stand up for what was right. One of the original athlete social justice leaders, along with guys like Kareem and Muhammad Ali and those gentlemen there. Rest in peace from myself, Trip Young, to one of the greats. Eric, I'll let you speak on it.
Absolutely. Someone who was far ahead of his time. Someone who sacrificed his own career for the greater good of humankind. Like you said, a true activist and someone who spoke up on social injustice. He walked away from the NFL far too soon. But again, that speaks to the vision he had as a person, and understanding that what I'm doing here isn't going to really have the long lasting effect. Some of the other things that I can do, and not only transition into acting, but then also understanding that I can leave the game fully functional, and still have an impact in society. A true legend, someone who provided so much and contributed so much to humankind. He's a legend in Cleveland, but he's a legend all over the world for everything he's done for social justice. Jim Brown he's that guy, man. And like I said, it's definitely RP to a legend, man. Somebody who, in my opinion, was way ahead of his time.
Yeah, absolutely. One other movie I got to check out. If you haven't already seen Mars Attacks, check my man Jim Brown in Mars Attacks, man. I love that movie, man. Rest in peace to Jim Brown. With that being said, Thank you guys again for tuning into the live stream. Yo, man, we love y'all so much. Keep those comments coming in every week when we are live. We love interacting with you guys, so keep that up. We appreciate you guys. Make sure you guys are following us on all our social media. The website is realfansrealtalk.com. If you're not in the New York City area on Thursday nights and you can't catch us on TV on BPN2 Verizon 43, all you got to do is go right there, realfansrealtalk.com, and click on that red button on the homepage. You can watch from anywhere in the world. And then again, you see it right there, Verizon 43, facebook.com/realfansrealtalk, and of course, Twitter, Instagram @realfantalk. If you guys aren't already, make sure that you guys are subscribed to both the Sanchez Show and the Real Fans Real Talk podcast. We got all the sports content you need. You ain't got to go nowhere else. You can get breakfast, lunch, and dinner right here between Real Fans Real Talk and the Sanchez Show podcast. And of course, lastly, hey man, subscribe to that YouTube channel. Come on, man. Do that for the homies. We out here working hard for y'all. YouTube.com/For The Fans Productions. We got a whole lot coming in the next couple of months. So make sure you guys stay tuned in. Eric, you want to give us a final thought? Hold on, I see we got a comment up here real quick.
Nah, don't put that up there. You ain't got to put that up there.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah,
all right. You want to give us a final thought?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Again, we appreciate everybody who's rocking with us. We had to take a couple weeks off, and that was more so because of me. I was away on some business, so we had to, give us some time to get back to it. But we look forward to getting back on our schedule with you guys. Next week we coming back, and we got great shows in store, and obviously with Ballin' for Peace coming up, we're gonna have some live footage from Ballin' for Peace as well. So we just appreciate you guys rocking with us. You could be anywhere in the world, but continue to rock out with us because we greatly appreciate it. And we'll see you guys next week.
Yes, sir. For myself, Trip Young, my brother, Eric Sanchez, aka Legend in 2 Games. We up out of here. Peace.